The night sky is filled with countless stars. Traveling out to a rural area with little light pollution, stars abound, and satellite photos of space seem to form beautiful fractals that can be zoomed in on forever with more and more stars. These stars are dispersed randomly throughout the sky. Sure, there are higher concentrations of stars around the plane of the Milky Way galaxy, and other formations such as star clusters lead to denser patches of the night sky, but besides these trends, the universe has no concern for neatness. The human mind, however, has an incredible ability for pattern recognition, to the point that we often see patterns where there are none. This has played out in the night sky over millennia, so that we describe groups of stars as constellations based on what they appear to be if you connect the dots. While what these patterns look like may not provide us with much useful information, knowing where they were in the sky provided ancient civilizations with a calendar. The celestial sphere, a term used to describe the seemingly spherical arrangement of stars around us, is essentially fixed in place as the Earth revolves around the Sun. As a result, the stars that appear during summer nights will not be present in the winter, as they would be up at the same time as the Sun during the day. The constellation Orion, for instance, rises to the east just around sunset in the fall. As winter approaches, Orion rises earlier and earlier, so early farmers could use the position of Orion the Hunter to figure out when they should harvest their crops. Later civilizations used constellations for navigating the seas. The star Polaris, as well as the Big and Little Dipper, formed a recognizable pattern that marked the northward direction. Keep Polaris to your right and you'll sail west. Keep it to your left and you'll sail east. You can also keep it ahead or behind you to sail north or south, and you can measure its angle off the horizon to figure out your latitude. The constellations of the night sky have been very useful for a long time, and they are still useful today. The International Astronomical Union recognizes 88 official constellations for the sake of naming and cataloging the stars, although such constellations carry little information about the actual locations of those stars in space. While you might not know all 88 constellations, it is likely that you know 12 in particular, the constellations of the Zodiac. But what is the Zodiac exactly? Why are its constellations so notable, and why is it used in astrology? To understand the Zodiac, we must return to the Earth's orbit around the Sun and rotation about its axis. It takes a little less than 24 hours for the Earth to make one complete rotation on its axis relative to the stars. The value of 24 hours comes from the fact that the Earth has moved a little bit in its orbit, so it must rotate more than 360 degrees to keep the Sun in the same spot. The result is that each night the stars in the sky appear to arrive 4 minutes earlier than the last, and over the course of a year, this results in one revolution of the celestial sphere. However, there is another important effect of this discrepancy. Because the celestial sphere appears 4 minutes earlier each day, while the Sun stays in place, the Sun appears to travel across the celestial sphere over the course of a year. This traveling traces out a path known as the ecliptic plane. The ecliptic plane is important in astronomy because the solar system is roughly flat. All of the planets and major bodies of the solar system have orbits that lie roughly on the ecliptic plane. As a result, they appear to travel across the ecliptic just like the Sun. The Zodiac, simply enough, is the set of constellations that roughly lie on the ecliptic plane. These 12 constellations were first denoted by the ancient Babylonians 2.5 millennia ago. They divided the sky into 12 equal slices for the 12 months of the year and centered each slice roughly on a notable constellation. This was one of the earliest astronomical coordinate systems, as once they had the zodiac, Babylonian astronomers could record a planet's location on the ecliptic relative to the zodiac constellation it was traveling through. Starting with Aries, defined as the position of the Sun at vernal equinox, the zodiac moved through 12 equally sized constellations. In ancient times, astrology and astronomy were one and the same. While the zodiac was used to predict the arrival of various omens, it was also used to track the seasons and the passage of time from year to year. The seemingly clockwork night sky has always been a great way to track time. From our very first calendars, the predictable aspects of the night sky helped humans mark time. To this day, the vernal equinox marks the time when the Sun travels through the constellation Aries. Wait a minute. If you look at the location of the Sun at vernal equinox, you'll find that it hovers around Pisces, not Aries. did the Babylonians get it wrong? No, they did not. The key is to remember that the zodiac was invented 2,500 years ago, and since then, the timing of the equinoxes and solstices has shifted due to the 26,000-year precession of the Earth's axis of rotation. Yet still, modern-day Western astrology maintains the timing of the Babylonians for when the sun is traveling through each astrological sign, and the result is that they are about a month ahead of the true location of the sun. While the zodiac has led to the modern practice of astrology, horoscopes, and the less scientific aspects of the study of the sky, it also led to our modern astronomical coordinate system used to map the night sky. It is important to remember that astronomy and astrology share common roots. Science in general operates on making hypotheses, testing them, and often proving them wrong. That is why many fields of science find their roots in more mystical ancient practices. So what is the zodiac? The zodiac is an ancient system of mapping the sky, devised by the Babylonians, that was used for astronomical and astrological purposes. Thank you all for watching this video. I hope you learned something about the origin of the zodiac and the history of astronomy in general. While astrology is not scientifically credible, it can be fun to look at one's horoscope. The more you research it, the more complex you'll find astrology to be. While we may scoff at the idea of the constellations predicting a person's personality, astrology does at least make more people fascinated with the night sky, and that's a win in my book. Happy Thanksgiving.